Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, 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 testing.
Robert.
We can do that, we can get her out of the way. Oh, you know what? No executive session. Sure. I can leave with Linda. If we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Pledge allegiance to the
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you all. May be seated. Good morning, everybody. Commissioners, any announcements or anything at this time before we proceed to the agenda items? Anybody that wants to,
Yes, we have three, two that are going to speak before,
okay,
and three that are going to speak before the meeting, and one that's going to speak during the agenda item.
any comments, commissioners, before we proceed? No?
No.
Announcements?
Just so they
Okay,
can
who do we
speak
have?
within 10
Teresa?
minutes, Judge.
Melissa?
Teresa
Teresa?
Norland.
Teresa,
Yeah.
you may come forward to the,
She's on item 18.
item 18, okay. So anyone that would like to come before we get the agenda item going in the meetings, before any agenda items, you can come up to the podium and just state your name for the record. This time.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. I just wanted to do a brief update on our American Rescue Plan Act. We have currently finished all the community participation meetings, and we are in phase 2, which is reaching out to each of the departments in Jim Wells County. They have all been provided with a spreadsheet and a letter signed from Judge Rodriguez asking them to prioritize any of their funding needs and submit that to me by April 15th, because the plan is to tentatively submit that to Commissioners Court in an American Rescue Plan workshop so that we can start addressing the community's needs and department needs. Thank you.
Ms. Moran.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, who else? Who's next?
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. My name is Amanda Sue Friedeck. I'm speaking on behalf of Silver Star Food Store today. I just wanted to invite everybody that is a first responder to our event this evening at the VFW post here in Dallas, Texas. We will be having a Heroes Response First community event to honor our local first responders. I've been traveling all over the county delivering little letters here and there to different folks, and we wanted to formally address this with you guys because y'all are so hard to find. But in behalf of our community, we partnered up with nonprofits, individuals, families, organizations, and local businesses all over Jim Wells County, and have a 3-course meal to say thank you, especially to our first responders recently with all the fires and stuff. So we hope to see y'all there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And what time?
What time was that at, Ms. Frederick? 7 p.m. Okay, who else would like to come before?
I'll wait for our line
We'll
item.
wait for the agenda item, okay?
I got something to say, Judge.
Okay.
Last week, we had a 911 coordinator, Catherine Paris, here. We went out through the communities in Palito Blanco and in Benbold, and we still got Fremont to go and La Gloria. We had an event where we were able to let the people come in and look up their 911 number to verify it, to make sure that they were in the right location and there wasn't any issues with their address. And it worked out pretty good. We had a real good outcome. The people showed up, and we found some issues where people were either on a private road, and as far as there's a private road, there's more than 2 dwellings back there. It's got to be considered a private road, and it's got to be named, and it's got to be each one's got to be addressed. So there's a lot of issues out there, and I'd highly recommend that the rest of the commissioners look into going out and doing it for the rest of the county. We've had a lot of issues when we had the stakeholders meeting, they were complaining, they were calling 911, they couldn't get their services out there. They couldn't find the place, so we addressed it with a 911 coordinator, and it worked out real good. We had a good turnout, excellent turnout, so just want to let you guys know that I'd highly recommend it.
Very good. Any other announcements, commissioners? We got agenda item number 4. Take action on minutes from previous meeting.
I just want to say something real quick. I
Okay,
just
sure.
remembered. We had our first tire roundup, precinct 1 and precinct 2. And I know in precinct 1, we collected over 2,000 tires. I don't know,
We had 1,400.
14. So it was very successful.
Great, excellent.
And yours, whose is next week? Oh, we chose is the 23rd or the 30th?
Ours is the 24th, I think.
I think it's ours that.
We have that on the website, no? Should be? Or it's not on there yet?
We will be putting this on the website. The next tire recovery event will be with Commissioner Precinct 3, Commissioner Chapa in Orange Grove on April 23rd from 8 to 2 o'clock. And then the 4th one will be held in Fremont with Commissioner Huicho Gonzalez, Precinct 4. That will also be from 8 to 2. And these first two that we had, Precinct 1 and Precinct 2, were very successful. So glad to see that. And thank you to the Coastal Bend Council of Governments for this grant.
Very good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Minutes from previous meeting.
Make a motion to accept item number 4, presented, Judge.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor.
I'll second.
The second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 5, discuss, consider, take action on proclamation submitted by Brush Country Casa, making April 2022 Child Abuse Prevention Month. Do we have someone from Casa? Hello, good morning.
Good morning. I am Nicole Ortegon. I am the Outreach Director for Brush Country Casa. We currently serve Jim Wells County. I wanted to come and personally invite you to our events coming up on April, let me make sure I get this, April 19th at 6 p.m. We are hosting a candlelight vigil here on the courthouse grounds. And on Saturday, April 23rd, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., we'll be hosting our Children's Spring Festival, and that will be held at Veterans Plaza Park. And so I just wanted to give you a little bit of information about the CASA program if you're not aware. We are a nonprofit organization and we recruit volunteers to help guide children through the foster care system. So our volunteers gather information about the kids. We're appointed by the judge. We identify their unmet needs and then we advocate for their needs to be met in court. We are currently seeking volunteers here in Jim Wells County. I have 80 children right now at a minimum that need a CASA volunteer. So I'm pleading to the community to please learn more about the program. We have an office located right here on Flournoy. And again, we're currently accepting applications. So thank you very much for our proclamation today. And
you
I
for
do have
everything.
some flyers. May I leave these with the
Yes.
county clerk?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
You
thank
may.
you.
Thank you. This proclamation, whereas child maltreatment is a community problem and finding solutions depends on involvement among people throughout the community, and whereas it is time to focus on ways not only to protect children, but also to prevent abuse from ever occurring. And this is our opportunity to make a difference in young lives, and whereas in Texas, more than 4 children die from abuse or neglect on average every week, 184 children are confirmed victims daily, and more than 7 children are maltreated every hour. And whereas in 2021, the Texas child population was 7,594,941 alleged victims, 193,903 children, confirmed investigations of 68,517 children, and removed 16,028 children in Texas, of which there were 726 alleged child victims. In Jim Wells County, Brooks, Duval, Kennedy, and Clayburgh County, and 412 confirmed victims of abuse or neglect. And whereas all children have the right to feel safe in their own homes and to be provided every opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive, child abuse violates a child's dignity, security, vulnerability, and humanity. And whereas by strengthening families and providing safe, stable, and nurturing environments that are free from violence, abuse, and neglect, opportunities are created for children's optimal growth and success, ensuring a secure future for our communities where the needs of children are a priority and the needs of families are met. Whereas effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because of partnerships among families and social service agencies, schools, religious and civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. Whereas all citizens, community agencies, faith organizations, and businesses should strive to increase their efforts to protect and support all children to stop the cycle of child abuse. Now therefore, I, Juan Rodriguez Jr., County Judge for Jim Wells County, do hereby proclaim April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month and encourage all residents to join me in renewing our commitment to prevent child abuse and increase our participation in supporting families. Thank you very much for all y'all do.
By the way, Judge, I just want you to know that I will be working to shorten that for you next year.
That's okay. Well, people need to hear exactly what's going on.
Thank you very
Motion to
much.
approve.
Thank you.
It was good. Thank you.
Second the motion.
We have a motion on the floor?
You made a motion. I second.
And I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Good luck with everything. We'll see you all out there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, agenda item number 6, discuss and consider and take action on resolution recognizing April 2022 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Do we have anybody that, I have a proclamation here. Commissioners, do y'all want to,
Carlos is on the line.
is he?
Yes, Judge, Commissioners, thank you for giving us the
He's
opportunity.
muted.
I know this month,
We can't hear you, Carlos.
well,
No.
can you hear me now? Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2.
You should find her. Yeah.
Testing, can anyone hear me?
Try.
Well, I don't,
Yeah, now we can hear you.
you can hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. I just wanted to thank the Commissioners Court for giving us the opportunity to present a couple of resolutions today. The month of April actually has a lot of crime victim related topics going on. One, as CASA presented the one on child abuse. This is also the month for sexual assault awareness, which is number 6 on the Commissioners Court agenda today. And there's also one for National Crime Victims Week that's at the last full week of April. So with that being said, if you'd like, I can read the resolution for item 6.
That'd be great, Mr. Garcia.
Resolution recognizing April 2022 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Whereas sexual assault affects every person in Jim Wells County, Texas, either as a victim, survivor of sexual assault, or as a family member, significant other, friend, neighbor, or co-worker, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, a time to draw attention to the prevalence of sexual assault and educate individuals and communities about how to prevent it. Sexual harassment, abuse, and assault are widespread problems. In the United States alone, 1 in 5 women and 1 in 67 men have been raped at some point in their lives. And whereas in the United States, about 43.6% of women and 24.8% of men experience some form of sexual violence in their lifetime, according to the National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Survey. About 21.3% of women surveyed reported completed or attempted rape at some point in their lives, with 1.2% reporting completed or attempted rape in the 12 months preceding the survey. About 2.6% of men reported experiencing completed or attempted rape at some point in their lives. About 81.3% of female victims and 70.8% of male victims experienced their first completed or attempted rape before the age of 25. And whereas 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 4 girls is sexually abused before the age of 18, sexual abuse can happen to both boys and girls of all ages, races, ethnicities, and family backgrounds. Children are often too scared, confused, or embarrassed to report sexual abuse right away, so it often continues without parents or caregivers knowing about it. And whereas with the assistance of our crime victims advocates, we are working to provide quality services to sexual assault survivors, assist sexual assault survivors through the criminal justice proceedings, and whereas Jim Wells County recognizes a need to increase funding for programs aimed at intervening in and preventing sexual assault by encouraging and supporting efforts to bring additional resources to our community. And whereas during the month of April, the 79th Judicial District Attorney's Office will be intensifying efforts to promote public understanding of sexual assault, increase sensitivity to victims of sexual assault, and emphasizing the need for citizen involvement in efforts to reduce sexual assault. Now, wherefore, be it resolved that the Jim Wells County Commissioners Court hereby recognizes April 2022 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month and calls upon our citizens and government agencies to recommit and rededicate ourselves to the goals of eliminating sexual assault adopted on this 11th day of April of 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
I'll make a motion to accept item number 6
Okay, I have
presented,
a
Judge.
motion on the floor.
I'll second.
And the second, all those in favor say aye.
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 And all those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Garcia, again, for
Thank you.
reading that out.
You're welcome.
Okay, now we got agenda item number 7. Consider and take action on a resolution recognizing April 24th through the 30th, 2022 as National Crime Victims Awareness Week.
And Commissioners, I can read that one into the record as well. Whenever you're ready, I can do that.
You may go ahead, Mr. Garcia.
Resolution recognizing April 24 through 30th of 2022 as National Crime Victims Awareness Week. Whereas in 1982, the President's Task Force on Victims of Crime envisioned a national commitment to a more equitable and supportive response to victims. And whereas this commemorative week celebrates the energy, perseverance, and commitment that launched the victims' rights movement, inspired its progress, and continues to advance the cause of justice for crime victims. And whereas crime can leave a lasting impact on any person regardless of age, national origin, race, creed, religion, gender, sexual orientation, immigration, or economic status. And whereas incorporating communities' existing experts and trusted sources of support into efforts to fully serve survivors will develop a criminal justice system response that is truly accessible and appropriate for all victims of crime. And whereas serving victims and rebuilding their trust restores hope to victims and survivors, as well as supports thriving communities. And whereas honoring the rights of victims, including the rights to be heard and to be treated with fairness, dignity, and respect, and working to meet their needs rebuilds their trust in the criminal justice and social service system. And whereas National Crime Victims' Rights Week provides an opportunity to recommit to ensuring that all victims of crime, especially those who are challenging to reach or be served, are offered culturally and linguistic accessibility and appropriate services for the aftermath of crime. And whereas the 79th Judicial District Attorney's Office is hereby dedicated to strengthening victims and survivors in the aftermath of crime, building resilience in our communities and our victim responders, and working for a better future of all victims and survivors. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Jim Wells County Commissioners Court hereby recognizes April 24 through 30, 2022 as National Crime Victims Awareness Week, adopted this 11th day of April, 2022.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Garcia, for reading that into the record.
Thank you all.
Okay, agenda item number 8, discuss, consider, and take action on budget amendment submitted by Sheriff Daniel Bueno for presentation purposes, amend the 2022 Jim Wells County Sheriff's forfeiture budget by moving 8,000 from 535639010 miscellaneous to line item 535604520 maintenance vehicles.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. I just wanted to say is that it states it's just for presentation purposes. They do have the money and it should be no problem for me to change the figures. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Noe.
It's just a presentation.
Yeah. Okay. Well, actually, it is a budget
It's an action.
item.
He
To
said
amend
it
the
was
budget.
presentation. Motion to approve anyway. It's an action item.
I second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion, a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 9, discuss, consider, and take action on budget amendment request by District Clerk R. David Guerrero to transfer 20,000 from line item 81403999 reserve for contingencies to line item 81403 575 furniture and fixtures.
Commissioners Court, Judge, I looked at the request and I recommend the request be okayed and approved. Thank you.
I make a motion.
I have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Number 10, thank you, Sheriff. Agenda item number 10, discuss, consider, take action to approve a preliminary subdivision plat for Westover Estates, number 4, submitted by Mike Collier. Preliminary subdivision, do we have that?
Yes, that is the one, but Mike Collier.
Mr. Collier, is he here?
Do you have something, Michael?
Mr. Oakes came and spoke to me about 2 weeks ago, and there's been a revision to the original plat that was submitted. I think the first one had 2 cul-de-sacs. They've now merged those into one large street that will loop around on the north side of the road that's going to cut across from one side of the subdivision to what is that, 465? Weechkill?
Yes.
Yeah. So there is a slight difference. I thought he had submitted it to Linda Reynolds to post. It's not if it's not attached, then
Tom Oakes is there.
Mr. Oakes, you're on the line. You want to speak to this?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Yeah, that stuff was submitted to Linda via PDF. It's basically the same subdivision that we submitted like 10 years ago, but as Mike said, it's taking out those 2 cul-de-sacs and turning it into a loop. This is the preliminary plat. And then we got to work on the.
Okay, we'll try to get that up or downloaded so we can see the plat, but
Judge, it was emailed to Linda on March 22nd.
Yes.
So she can check her emails.
it's right here. It's on the, you pull it up, Wicho?
She attached
Maybe you
it.
can't read it though.
Well, there's 2. There's one that's got all the written stuff, and then there's a plat.
You can't read either one.
Okay, well,
It's real small.
He has a copy. I don't know.
Okay, Mr. Collier, I guess we can accept that and review that, but it would take some time to clarify or make sure before we, it's a preliminary subdivision plat anyway. Thank you, sir. Can we accept the preliminary plat, Michael, like this, or do we have to? go with-
I didn't have any issues with it as far as accepting it for preliminary purposes only at this point. Now, once they get a little farther in, then of course it'll need the required inspections and certifications.
Correct.
But this is the reason they're resubmitting, like I said, is that they've changed those 2 cul-de-sacs into one large road.
Okay. That's the only change really, right? I move that we approve this preliminary subdivision. A second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Got that accepted. Thank you, Michael. Mr. Collier, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Agenda item number 11, executive session. Jim Wells County Commissioner Court will conduct a closing executive meeting pursuant to the provisions of Open Meetings Law, Chapter 551, Texas Government Code, and the authority contained in Section 551071 to discuss or deliberate pending or contemplated litigations.
10:24.
It is 10:24, and we go into executive session at this time. Are we gonna? Sorry for the inconvenience, people, but
Only Michael. But the other ones are out, they can't see.
Yeah, will you join? Michael needs to see it.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be out on this one.
You're gonna be out?
Yes.
Okay, he's not gonna.
into regular session. And we will go to agenda item number 12, discuss, consider, and take action concerning potential courthouse closure on May 24th, 2022, due to May 24th, 2022 primary runoff elections. Do we have any instructions on that? Is there anything for sure that's gonna?
But there's only one state, what is it, a state election?
There's no local elections on that,
So we don't,
so it'd be up to the court to decide.
commissioners, no need to, I don't see any need. So we'll just go ahead and, we'll just table this agenda item, huh?
Yeah, we can table it for the next meeting, see.
Yeah, and see if anything comes up. Okay, I move that we table the agenda item.
One second.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 13, discuss, consider, and take action on juvenile probation officer Jimmy Schmidt's request of authorizing issuance of credit card to juvenile probation department. Schmidt.
Good morning, Judge.
Morning.
Morning.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, we're asking, or I'm asking if we could just have a credit card assigned to our department. There's been several times where we needed to do something or purchase something and the auditor's office doesn't have one. I've used my own personal one several times. One of my secretaries just used hers the other day to reserve some rooms. We have more conferences coming up to go to, and the auditor's done a great job about, I could submit and they reimburse me, of course, but I just thought if we could have one assigned to our department, that way we'd have it, we wouldn't have to try to check one out, because I just tried Friday again and they didn't have any available. So that's what we're asking for.
I don't see any problem with this, Judge. I think that's the way, that's the best way to do it,
Sign a card.
your conferences, your.
Conferences, and we're fixing to start our juvenile drug court again this month. And we need to order some things for that and stuff like that. And if there's not one available, it just makes it a little tougher.
Commissioners Court, I just wanted to say something on the county auditors not having any cards. We do have 4 cards that are for payables, where people come and sign out. And the cards are just for conferences and reservations for rooms. And that's basically what they're for, nothing else. And the thing is, we have those 4 payable cards. People just sign them out and they don't bring them in. And we have to follow and chase people down for them to bring the cards back. If they brought the cards back, there would not be any problems when somebody from another department comes in and wants a card because they haven't turned them in. The commissioners have theirs. Usually the department heads do not have any. There's 4 that's set up. I don't mind Jimmy getting one because I understand he needs it. And he has a one where, yes, one of his employees did have to use their card. I don't like that. I don't think that they should have to. And if it does happen, like he says, we will pay you right away. But I just want to make that clear. Okay? Thank you.
Did I make a motion to assign him a card? I second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
And all those opposed?
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank y'all.
Passes.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Agenda item number 14, discuss, consider, take action on the West Alice Youth Center's request for contribution of $25,000 for implementation of drug preventive programs for the children of Rancho Alegre community.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Commissioners, Judge, we're here again requesting some money for our summer program. This is our 17th year, I believe, that we've been out there in Rancho Alegre. And 2 years ago, when the first year that we had to deal with COVID, it was a very slow year. Last year picked up, and we expect this year to probably pick up more. Our main goal at the youth center is to keep kids away from drugs, keep them in school, and keep them doing positive things and associating with role models that they can kind of grow from and learn how to make decisions in their lives. I grew up in Rancho Alegre. It's a tough neighborhood. If you don't have role models and if you can't, if you don't have guidance, so basically what we use the money for from June to December is to run our summer program that extends past the summer. And so the expenses we have here that are notated were till the end of December. Now, from January to June, we have expenses as well, but we didn't include those. We just included from the summer program to the end of the year. And you guys know I'm also the juvenile prosecutor here in Jim Wells. And I see all the kids that come and go through the system. And I can tell you that they're not our kids. The kids that come into our program, that come inside the building and spend the summer with us, we never see in juvenile court.
I can attest to that, yeah.
Now, the kids that we have that don't come in, that still come over to the center, that's a crapshoot, 50-50. It's hard to get these teenage boys especially.
It's gonna get worse.
It gets worse, but it's hard to get teenagers to change their friends. If you wait too long, you lose them. So we try to get them early and keep them with us as long as we can. And of the last 10 years that we've had kids at the youth center, I think maybe once or twice that we've had a kid do something minor that we had to come to juvenile court. So that's where our success lies, is in the fact that you won't see them doing the things that can get them in trouble. And so this year we asked for 25,000. Last year we asked for 20 and got 18. I didn't really know what was in the budget, so I decided to throw that 25 out there. We got that one year. I'm just hoping this year will be a really good year number-wise, and their numbers will go up. But we're still kind of limited. Our building is small. We probably have room for maybe 40 kids max. And last year we were pretty close to our max. We have a lot of people that call from other parts of the county, from Ben Bolt and San Diego, or even here in town. We just don't have enough to include everyone. So we try to limit it to kids from Rancho Alegre, and then if we have overflow, we can take them if kids drop out of the program.
I think with all the costs, the inflation and everything, I think I move that we.
Well, we have
do
to,
20,000.
this is, excuse me, Judge, this is the money that we have to use through that, deal.
See,
You just
the money
submitted
we
it.
used- The one we used last time, the same.
Yeah, but we just submitted, I'm sure, yeah, then it's just,
You know, one of the requirements is to have the expenses from the prior year.
Yeah.
And he has them here.
Yeah, that's what that
The
is.
requirement. And I make a motion that we honor the request.
Okay. At 25,000, Commissioner?
Yeah.
Okay.
You had already made the
Subject to the funding, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I'm
I
saying.
don't think it would go that far, but whatever's available.
Yes, sir. That's why I submitted it.
So
I knew that it could be, somewhere in there.
Commissioners Court, I know this is gonna be paid out of Fund 50. When are we expecting to fund the program? Or for you all to decide when the check is gonna be written or the amount of the check?
When did
We usually get it the week before school lets out, so it's in June.
June 1st is what policy tells
Yeah.
us that.
June 1st.
And we start our program the Monday following the last day of school, which is around that time period.
Okay, well, I have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
all right.
And all those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioners.
Yes, sir. Before June 1st, then we'll get that. Thank you, Roman. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're on 15, discuss, consider, and take action to amend the existing agreement for purchase and removal of Caliche Road material with Eduardo Signs.
Judge, this is an item, we have the mother and the son there, and it's just eliminating the mom from the deal. It's Eduardo Sainz is the owner now of the property, so he'll be the one to deal with, okay.
All righty.
So Commissioners, I rewrote the agreement and removed Mrs. Signs. And the expiration date remains the same as the one that was approved a couple of months back.
I make a motion
Alright.
to amend the existing agreement.
Second.
And a second, all those in favor say aye.
All right.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we got that one. Agenda item number 16, discuss, consider, and take action to approve agreement with the Fremont Volunteer Fire Department for use of a 2020 International Truck Skeeter.
Judge, Commissioners, I'd like to ask you all to table this one and the next one. After we posted vehicles that fall into these same categories, we're at a point where I think we may have up to 4 vehicles that we don't have titled properly. We need to figure out whether when we purchase or when we assist the volunteer fire departments, whether we want the vehicles to remain in the county's name or whether they should go into the name of the volunteer fire department that they're serving. be it Orange Grove, Sandia, Benbolt, or Fremont. We also have an issue with the, how do you describe that truck? The one that,
Oil distributor?
with the oil distributor. Yes, that one as well. And I spoke with Mary Lozano and her assistant last week. I'm still not clear what it is they want from us. But the first thing that we need to clarify is whose name is it going to be in? Do we want it to remain in our name, which has insurance implications too, and liability implications? If it stays in our name, who's paying for the insurance? Are we buying it? Are the volunteer fire departments reimbursing us? Or if we do it the reverse way, where we put it in their name, can we, that may be a better option, where we put it in their name and we reimburse or assist them with their insurance premiums. That may be a better way of doing it for liability purposes. I think we need to have a meeting with maybe somebody from the auditor's office and the volunteer fire department chiefs to figure out what the best way to address this is. But we're not ready to proceed on these two right now. Because not only Fremont and Benbolt, but we also have the oil distributor vehicle and the Orange Grove vehicle that need to be addressed as well.
Okay, Mr. Guerra, we'll take that recommendation. I got a motion on the floor and a second to table the agenda item. All those in favor say aye.
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 And all those opposed? Motion passes. Agenda items are tabled. Thank you, Mr. Guerra.
Thank you, Judge.
Agenda item number 18, discuss available options for animal control regulations.
17, no? I mean, 18, you got a table also?
Yeah.
I think we had-
she tabled
Yeah,
both.
motion to
Tabled
table.
both.
Both of them, okay.
Discuss available options for animal control regulations in unincorporated areas of the county.
We have
Judge, I requested this item to be put on the agenda for discussion, try to get some ideas on where do we need to go from here. There's some huge issues on, and I'm not gonna say that it's strictly stray dog problems. I believe a lot of it's gotta do with irresponsible dog owners, and we've all been part of it, either a victim of stray dog or dogs, or I've had, personally, I've had 8 goats killed. Gabriel bought goats from the fair at one time, $17,000 worth. Following day, they were all killed by loose dogs. And I believe that in Benbolt, we just had the other day, some young kid got bit by two dogs that were out and about. So I want to start something going here. We need to discuss.
Don't we have a county and animal control
We
officer?
have an animal control.
Have you spoken
the
to them
sheriff's
before we
department,
proceed with this discussion?
and their concern is that we don't have the space for dog kennels for here
And they
locally in
come-
Alice. It's already maxed out.
And they haven't brought it to the
Take them to San
attention?
Diego and they pay over there a certain amount.
Have they ever brought it up to the commissioner's court? There's no space here. Do we have?
I don't believe they have, no.
Nope.
No, sir. They
And
have.
they need to do that, right? Just bring it up?
And I've discussed it with Ms. Moran, if there's some issues that we can look out for a grant to try to either expand, do something. But I firmly believe that I think we need to create a committee within the county to create ideas to try to address this issue. It's a big concern. I mean, people are getting attacked.
This is
by
pretty
dogs,
straightforward.
trash
We
problems.
just need to build a little
you know,
place or something like the city has.
And it's not so much as a dog pound to do away with the dog. I believe that some owners at one point got to be held accountable for it. We're all we all own dogs. I own dogs, and my dogs have been out about. My neighbors called me, "Hey, your dog's over here." So we got to do our part. Something's got to get done. It's just too many dogs out there. I don't think it's just 100% stray dog problem. I think it's just owners that are not being responsible for their animals. And we all have. I got cattle. We all have out there where we live. People got cattle problems with dogs going on and about. So that's the reason I brought it up here. So if anybody else wants to speak or say anything about it, more than welcome to it. But I think it needs to be brought into consideration for an item to where we look for funding to try to find something to hold these animals, hold the homeowners accountable for it.
I suggested the sheriff
And
take it and defer it to him. Since he's liable, responsible for that program.
I think the county
He's got the
attorney needs to be involved also concerning some liabilities.
we need, I don't know what the whole policy is about right
You
now.
need to create a meeting between you and the sheriff, county attorney, maybe.
And that's what
county judge.
one of my options is to create a committee within the county
Yeah,
of
okay.
surrounding areas and include the county attorney, include the sheriff, and discuss to see what we can do. Where do we go from here? Because something's got to get done. We
I
just
think-
can't sit here and say we can't do nothing about it.
No, I believe that we just need to enforce the laws that are on the books
Yeah.
already. That's all. Enforce them.
Enforce
If
it.
we can't enforce that, the sheriff has to do that. So And that's what the direction is to the animal control officer. And once they identify that, if we need a place, I don't think there's a committee necessary or discussion. It's pretty straightforward. It needs to be addressed and enforce the laws that if you have stray animals, right now, if an animal's out there, the owner's responsible if it kills an animal or if it hurts somebody, right?
Those animals might have a lot of rights.
And they do,
That's
but
the only problem.
one thing that I've discussed with Moran is, can we find something where we can, like grant, like we did the tires, can we do something for spade and neuter? Take it to the communities, to different communities in Benbow, Orange Grove, and have it available for these people. I don't just want to go out there and give a ticket out to somebody for a dog being loose, you know? We have to be able to supply something for them to be able to help them out, you know? I know there's a lot of elderly people that have their dogs and they may not have full control of it, but you know, somebody's got to be held accountable for it. Somebody, we just can't let it go and say, oh, we have a lot of trash problems with dogs getting to the trash cans. We have people being attacked, kids being attacked. And like I said, I firmly believe, I don't think it's stray dogs. I have 2 dogs penned up in McKenna right now and they're both in heat and I got 10 dogs out there, you know, like Jesus Christ, where are these dogs coming from? You know? So something's got to get done. We got to meet again, meet together, get the public involved, and come up with a solution for this. You know, and it's not. I understand it's not 100% proof, but we got to go somewhere. We just can't stay idle here and just say, "Well, it's not our problem."
We need to start the conversation
Yes,
like
sir.
you are.
Exactly. Yeah. So I invite anybody can come in and get in our office, call, contact, and let's form something and put it back in the meeting and the agenda, and let's get something going. Something's got to get done.
This case, the available options. So, Commissioner, you're gonna go ahead and reach out to.
We have somebody wants to speak, Judge.
Sheriff.
You can get up there. You can speak from there wherever you want.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Morning.
Good morning.
Judge,
We have a
Commissioners,
speaker.
I've never done this before, so y'all have to bear with me.
Your name for the
Everybody's been very helpful. Teresa Norlander.
Okay.
Okay. I came today. I'd like to start off by saying that I'm not involved with any organizations. I don't know both sides of any stories or incidents that have happened with strays, wandering, or lost animals in the past or currently. I'm always willing to learn and be open to both sides. I feel that's very important. I'm not coming here today to point fingers or blame. I came here today with the hopes that some of my thoughts and opinions combined with others can be the beginning to a solution. That might just make a difference for the people and the animals of the community. And I say animals because I feel like the animals are getting lost in this. Okay, I feel like everybody's blaming the animals. Everybody's being taught. Yes, sir.
You're right. I mean, during the pandemic,
Yeah.
people got these, and then they just, after everything was lifted, they just abandoned their animals.
Yes, and everybody's blaming these stray animals and what I've been
I blame
seeing.
them.
I'm not a big Facebook fan for this specific reason. I'm actually a hermit. I stay at home. I never come out and talk, but I feel like somebody has to talk for these animals. It's becoming very unfair, and people are not taking care of their animals. There are spay and neuter programs available out there for under $100.
That's what we need to do. The
PAAC.
humans spade them and neuter them.
Pardon me?
That's what we need to do. The humans
I can't see.
for doing that to the animals.
Yeah, yes, sir. I do. I believe that that's a big thing. And like with the committee, I'm not disagreeing or agreeing, but I do feel that there needs to be something else other than putting up a building and putting more animals in the building. I think it needs to start with the owners. I think they need to be responsible. I think that these spay and neuter programs for under $100 are readily available for people. They're just choosing not to take it. It's been their choice not to take it. I grew up in a different state. This is unheard of, and I apologize for this. And I know that it's
Don't apologize. It's
well, no, I apologize because it seems honest and brutal. But I was horrified when I came down here and seen what it was like. And I'm
keep in mind, in fairness to us, we had never had a pandemic. We had never had so many animals adopted.
Yes, sir.
That stuff. So
Yes, sir.
we all went through this initial.
Yes, well, this was prior even too, and I'm not used to seeing, all these dead dogs on the road and dogs in bags. There's been a dog in a bag over by the bridge going to Kingsville for like a week and a half, and stuff. And it's very, I don't like the kids growing up. And that's what I want to say really quickly before my time is up is I believe in the education as well. Not just for children, but if we teach our children this isn't okay, they see it as a norm. They're growing up thinking this is okay. This is what we do. We don't neuter, spay. We let our dogs roam. We do this. So if we teach education to our kids, teach education to adults that there's programs available out there, teach education to the adults that we're responsible for our animals. I mean, we could start now for a future that's going to be better than what it is right now, is the way that I look at it. Anger is huge. See it on Facebook, hear it from people, totally understand. But it's not going to be helpful in these situations to be angry. It never helps. Anger never helps situations. I too have experienced the situations regarding our livestock, livelihood, children, family, guarding it all. I've experienced every type of loss, death, injury, all of that from this, but I still can't find it in my heart to blame the animals. I get upset with how we allow this to keep happening, because we are all allowing this to happen as well, without having different laws, without having the education, without promoting things, which you do here. I'm not saying it that way, but I think we can do more than just building a shelter. So anyway, with that, I have learned to take negative energy and I try to use it to make a positive difference if I can. And like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad this was on the agenda. It gives me some hope that something can be done. And just one little note, and this isn't from a whole bunch of different sites and different things, so don't quote me on this, but one of it said in 3 years, as early as 4 months old, one unspayed female and one unneutered male can produce up to 512 dogs, 382 cats. Just neutering and spaying a couple animals is all it takes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it very much. We would definitely look into it.
I know at one time in Brooks County, you take your animals to get spaded for free, especially if they had Medicaid.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I know the city used to do that too here. They have those programs.
My neighbor has foster kids and they have Medicaid.
I know I have an individual in Belleville is fixing to start already started a no-kill type shelter deal to adopt the dogs and send them over. But like I've discussed with her, I don't firmly believe that it's just stray dogs. It's a lot of irresponsibility on the homeowner.
Oh,
the dog
definitely.
owner, So
Sure.
we need to address that.
But those stray dogs belonged to somebody before they went and dumped them out in the rural areas.
Yes, yeah. And the spay and neuter program should be brought in. I firmly believe in that.
Okay.
And I know there's a pet program that provides all of that, because they've approached us before.
Like I said, the animals are more important to me than most human beings, so I'm with you, okay? We've really taken advantage, we've really abused that situation, it's like everywhere, I know. And it's individual owners, it's humans that are leaving these animals stray and abandoning them, these animals. Okay, where are we now? 819, Mr. Mercado, right? Presentation by County Extension Agent Rogelio Mercado on immediate and long-term needs for Jim Wells County Fairgrounds. Okay.
Good
Mr.
morning.
Mercado.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners, and thank you for allowing me some time this morning to address this. But before I address our agenda item, I'd like to volunteer to serve on the committee that was previously discussed. Be glad to offer some advice, especially on the livestock end of it, the strays. And just this weekend, I had unfortunately a good puppy show up on my back door, and that was a pleasant surprise instead of what we've normally have seen.
Thanks for volunteering yourself. I know you reached out during the fires and all that too. We didn't get around to it because Tita, Mr. Kidd, I know he was gonna reach back out to, but he was holed up with all kinds of things, but they did thank for making it available.
We continue to be on standby, and our department, our emergency management coordinator at the state level is still on standby. If we do need assistance with a animal supply point for this area, we can initiate it at any point in time.
Excellent. Okay.
So that is a good thing. Real quickly, I addressed you, I put out the handout right there in front of you. This is not old news or excuse me, new news. I'm just bringing you an update, and probably with a little bit more intent to have a few action items placed on this before I've told you and addressed the role of our fairgrounds in our community, but also more importantly on emergency management. And I've highlighted some of the things that I think are important in terms of addressing emergency management out at the fairgrounds. If you go to your last page or the back page on the update, I want to first thank the Commissioners Court for the improvements that were made since then. We've had an opportunity to already created a new parking area there south of the women's building. It's been a tremendous help for that facility. We had some work done in the Merchants Building also. Appreciate the initiative of Commissioner Garcia in getting those cracks filled in and looking good and making that facility a little bit safer. We've had some tree trimming and also removal of trees over there that were a nuisance and probably posed a threat to a lot of the electrical lines as they started growing. So that's a good thing. And also the Jim Wells County Fair Association went forward and installed those two big fans that are 20-foot in diameters in the swine building out of their budget, and we appreciate them doing that at the same time. In October, when we talked about the needs of the fairgrounds, we were just starting to look at some of the things that are needed. And over the years, we've patched and repaired as best as possible. We've had the opportunity to build new facilities. But right now, if you'll look at your immediate needs that I've listed out there, and they're somewhat prioritized, is we'll continue to focus on that north side of the main show arena where the bleachers sit. Those bleachers are already old, deteriorated, and starting to rot out. And also we're starting to experience some rotting of the structures, the uprights, the pipe structures that go up. If we had to replace those, if we had to go in there and only repair them with the cost of lumber today, it probably is going to be about the same as purchasing some new bleachers. So that's just an incentive to look at purchasing versus repairing those facilities. We do still have drainage issues from the rainfall from those two buildings. And so essentially we need to concrete that area on the north side of those bleachers and then replace those bleachers as well. The swine barn, which was built in, I believe, 2007 or somewhere around that area, it's a very relatively new building, but as it stands, it is only being used one time out of the year. Last time, that building is 100 feet by 170, so that's 17,000 square feet, and only about 1/3 of it does it have concrete under. If we can come in there and merge concrete all the way through and complete that project in itself, we can take out the sand, we can take out those pins after the county fair is done, and then we have even a bigger open pavilion for other activities such as we had to experience during COVID and do those things, or a facility that will also allow other community events to occur, or when we do stage emergency management equipment, we have a covered area to house those trucks, and all that equipment throughout the year, aside of October when we're hosting our county fair. So I think that's a very important task to take on. I've looked at bleachers, aluminum bleachers, to replace the old ones that we have. And the good thing about those is that we can install them where we're at, but those will outlive us and outlive probably some of the other facilities there, because if they're made out of aluminum and they're treated and it's covered well, they'll outlast them, and it's a good investment, I believe. And of course, they're safe. They're going to be safer than anything that we construct, anything that we repair out there at this time. And there's also an opportunity to weatherize our open pavilion. When we were using that as drive-throughs and for other events this past few years, whether it was cold weather, if it was rainy weather, which I wish we had today, it kind of kept us from being able to use that fully or comfortably in many instances. I know we put up some tents some tarps were put up to address those issues. I think there's a possibility that we could weatherize that building and either drop some of the sides or completely enclose it with some roll-up doors where you can still maintain the open pavilion, quote unquote, scenario of it. So I think that's a good move to address those needs. So those would be the four main ones. If we look at estimated costs, and these are based off of some estimates that we received last year, to concrete that north area of where the bleachers are in the arena would be about $30,000. To fill in the swine barn, that would be about $100,000. Bleachers that are about 30 feet long with 8 rows in height which are pretty much what we have. We have some that are 7 rows right now. They're about $30,000 each. If we filled the whole show arena, it would take 6. I think 4 would be enough. But if we had to take bits and pieces at a time and buy 2 at a time, that'd be great. And that's just, me speaking. And then depending on what would be decided by the group to do with the open pavilion, then that would take $40,000 to $50,000 also to drop some sides on it and make it a little bit more weather friendly for our users, for our community. So those would be the immediate needs. In the long run, and I addressed this at the previous presentation, is that overall we need to have a master plan for those fairgrounds. The Jim Wells County Fair Association is willing also to invest some monies back into the fairgrounds, but if we just continue to patch and pull and patch and fix, we're not going to get anywhere. The fairgrounds will continue to have just a stagnant development instead of getting together and let's all of us, along with community members and other people that have a vested interest in the use of the fairgrounds and the development of the fairgrounds, put our heads together and what do we want those facilities to look like in 10 years? And we take it in phases, and then hopefully with the help of Ms. Moran or other grants as well, we can identify some funds to.
That's a good idea to contact, and we do have that budgeted for an engineer to go look at that, if the Fair Association, just to kind of do it well, do it right, considering all the drainage, all those issues. If we start just patching things, it's going to become a damn disaster, like without an engineer. So that would be the best thing to start, to get an idea, to give the Commissioners Court and the association an idea of what to start working with, pointing out all these little different areas that need to be addressed.
I didn't see the cost.
Commissioners Court, could I speak, please? This is Noe. I just wanted to say that we have the CARES Act, it's Fund 28. It does have funds in there, and it seems like this would fall under that, where we would be fixing it up, having to do, in case we do have, it's like a staging area for everybody in the area, and I believe it would fall under that. If there's any other projects dealing with COVID that your commissioners have, just bring them forward, and they can be paid out of 28 until we use up the money. But this is exactly what we need, and we do have money in there. And if you all need anything like that, please just bring it up, and we can look at it, y'all can look at it and pay it out of Fund 28.
Now that you mentioned it, Noe, in order, it kind of comes together and basically works hand in hand with the American Rescue Plan. So those monies can be utilized for any of those projects that each commissioner has within their precinct, and including the fairgrounds, because we did use that as primary staging area. So
yes, and that's what I think. And all I'm saying is it needs to be paid out of Fund 28, whatever project they have.
Engineering, get a plan together and an idea, so that way we know where we're at, and then
leave it.
Well, that'll be, what's the balance in that?
Hold on.
I would like to know right now. That way we know we can pay for all this right now. Here it is.
I would like to see, and I think it's very important that we work on that first, is connecting the restrooms to the Merchants Building. We rent out that building quite often, and it's for big functions like weddings and quinceañeras. And sometimes it's really hot.
A walkway deal?
Yes, like, making like a hall to the restrooms and
Covered area.
covering it up so
Excuse
that
me. The CARES Act has $572,000.
How much?
$572,000. And that is money, so like I say, with this project and everything, this can be used.
I remember when we first started this deal, I remember Noe was kind of scary, right? Putting out the money up front. They said, "Oh, we're gonna get this money back." When we started this whole deal, we said, "Wow."
Commissioner,
that's a good balance to have.
The Merchants Building at one time, when it was renovated, was wired in terms of electricity to have a kitchen in the very far back. The drainage, the sewer line is accessible there as well. So there's probably it just needs to be designed right. Not a reason that we could not have some restrooms also built with time. Hopefully part of a master plan to develop some restrooms inside that facility. There's plenty of room to do that.
Well, thank you for that presentation. Noe, thank you for the clarification about the balance, and that it does qualify for So we'll see how we play it from there.
I think it's a perfect timing, Judge, with the funding that we have and ideas that Mr.
Never
Mercado
had
has
this
presented.
opportunity.
Right.
You know, it's time for us to make changes in this fairground. Get away
Like
from the
like
old
Commissioner
and the
Garcia
new,
said, there won't be any more of these windfalls.
you know, so.
Thank you, Mr. Mercado. Thank you. Any other on this matter, on this agenda item? No? Any other? Okay, we got the presentation done. Agenda item number 20, discuss, consider, and act on identifying all or unallocated funds to address the immediate needs of the Jim Wells County Fairgrounds. So we got that done. Do we want to just submit what you've recommended here and then we'll address that and?
Judge, what I
Are
would,
we on line item 20?
Yeah.
Yes.
Consider.
We need to have
A meeting with a
number,
committee.
a number.
That was a good job you did of that. I think we can work from there and I guess the Commissioners Court and the Fair Association can plug in those areas and.
We can go ahead and,
So I
we can make
guess
a motion to
we can
accept
make a
that,
motion, yeah.
to be funded from there, no?
I make a motion that we use the $572,000 that have been allocated in the cost care to begin,
Or how about we use that item, those funds, we get those funds from that item, not all 527,000.
well, no, but to be able to use what we need from that money, line item 28, to begin the process.
if I am correct, we would still have to move forward with requests for bids for those projects, bring them forward to you, and then you would approve
need an
those.
engineer,
And
but
then you
that's the
can,
next
I
line
would,
item.
you've identified the funds, and so we have them, but we still need to come back in front of you.
Go through the process.
And go through the process of opening bids, or at least accepting them through a formal process in Commissioners Court
Okay,
for each project.
does that sound, make sense? Do you want to?
But we still have to,
Commissioners Court,
You don't have,
with this, I'm sorry, with this payables that we're having and the previous payables, it's 542 that we have in the account.
That's what I thought.
Okay. But we've already identified the source, so at least one source, because we still can get money from other sources. So in order to clarify your motion,
Commissioners Court, I was approached by a commissioner this morning and he needs to fix his office for COVID-related, when the people go in there, and I would like for him to be able to address it through these funds too, and anybody else that needs it at this point. Thank you.
okay, let's, so what would the motion, what's the motion?
so then
Margie?
I guess, well, I said that I make a motion that we use this funds, Fund 28, to address the immediate needs of the fairgrounds.
Okay,
but my question is, do we need to make a motion for this, being that we can use this money already for this?
Well, only
Yeah,
because
we're
it's
just
there.
approving the
Number 12.
start of it.
Because we don't want to say we're gonna use all this money just for that.
No,
We
no.
just,
No,
we're
we-
allowing it, if it's being able to you're able to use it for it already, right? Ms. Ryan?
Well, the amounts would be, have to come to Commissioner's Court.
Basically, as I understand the agenda item, is you're identifying what
Yeah,
fund
identifying the-
to use for any expenditures that may come before the Commissioners Court in reference to the
We'll
improvements,
control the expenditure.
Right. I'm just making the motion that we go ahead
and use Fund 28. So basically, you're identifying which fund would be used in order to address these needs.
and then we'll go item by item, see which are priority, not, yep, okay? Second, I have a motion in a second. All in favor say aye.
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 And all those opposed? Motion passes. Great. You did a great job of outlining everything in this report, Ms. Moran, thank you. So now we go to agenda item number 21, discuss, consider, and take action on authorizing Jim Wells County to solicit statement of qualifications from professional consulting firms with expertise in site planning and design to provide a comprehensive feasibility study and overall plan for Jim Wells County Fairgrounds in Alice, Texas. That's what we. It's just right after the other, it just,
Judge, Commissioners, this goes along with the previous two agendas, items that were discussed regarding the fairgrounds. Just by way of background, The Jim Wells County Fairground is an asset that is currently underutilized, but offers a unique opportunity for Jim Wells County to serve as an exhibition and civic events for the county, the residents, and for regional participants. As all of you know, the main event here is the October show, the livestock show, and that draws crowds region-wide. So it's also have served as the Sanders County's agricultural community by staging the annual county fair and serving the 4-H, FFA, and other educational, civic, and private events, with the county fair as the primary occupant of the property since the 1940s. The slow but the continuous development of the property has been primarily around fair-related events. Other activities, events, and patrons make use of the fairgrounds throughout the year. Most recently, due to COVID-19 pandemic, the fairgrounds have been staging areas for testing and vaccinations for COVID-19. The fairgrounds are also used as a disaster staging area and for emergency evacuation and shelter. And additionally, it is the location for the food bank monthly distribution. Recently, Jim Wells County has made improvements to other facilities on the property. The reason for this shift from being just a fairground has been diversifying the revenue and the activity base of the fairgrounds. And you've seen an increase in car shows, corporate parties, weddings, and more. The fairground is the most well-positioned county venue to accommodate large events, but the facility lacks the amenities to attract new visitors and programs. An investment in the fairgrounds is an economic development activity. The scope of the work for the master plan is to provide a vision for the future with special emphasis on expanding it, generating additional revenue, and marketing the fairgrounds by developing a plan to guide as to investments, upgrades, and infrastructure. It will also provide a place for children and families to visit year-round by promoting innovative programs and objectives and projects. Additionally, the fairground could increase the profitability of the operation through partnerships, grants, planning, and utilization. The Jim Wells County Master Plan for the fairgrounds will include a group of stakeholders who use the fairgrounds to get feedback throughout the planning process. This agenda item is a request to approve going out for an RFQ to consult or solicit an engineer or engineering firm to provide a master plan for future development of our county fairgrounds and to identify the fund which it would be paid out of. And you have before you some of the improvements that were identified. And I believe that in having this master plan and having the engineering firm identify what projects and costs need to be done, they would also work in preparing the future bids for going out for contracts for construction of the identified needs. So this would be a very important process or first step in continuing to make those improvements as identified by Mr. Mercado. Thank you.
Thank you.
I make a motion to go out for an RFQ.
I have a motion on the floor to go out.
A second.
And a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 And all those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Moran. 22, here presentation from Coastal Bend Council of Government on potential funding from General Land Office LMI allocation.
Thank you, David.
Judge, commissioners, we have a guest here who is going to provide a PowerPoint presentation. Ms. Mary Afuso is with the Coastal Bend Council of Governments. She is the Regional Disaster Recovery Manager. On February 16th, myself and Commissioner Margie Gonzalez attended a training that was a public planning meeting for a method of distribution for community block grant mitigation funds. She's going to talk about the future funding that Jim Wells County is going to be receiving as a result of these allocation funding distributions through the General Land Office. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Alfusa.
Good morning and welcome, ma'am.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Okay, one more windfall, just one more, and we'll do one more. The method of distribution for the GLO, the General Land Office has contracted with the Council of Governments to do a method of distribution for this monies. This is mitigation funding from Harvey. As part of this process, as Ms. Moran said, we had a planning meeting, which the commissioner was a big part of. And as part of that planning, the Council of Governments made a recommendation to the GLO, and we are right in that process. We've given it to them just last week. And in about 6 weeks, we hope to be able to tell you exactly what the allocation is for the county. I want to share with you a few things about our process. It is data-driven, specifically data-driven, because it's very important that we be able to defend it. We can't just say, well, Margie's our favorite, so we're going to get everything to Jim Wells County. Because believe me, we totally would. But we, just for public record, that is not the case. We are totally doing data record, data-driven completely. If you go to the next. The way the GLO has allocated the funding is the total for our region is 179 million. Frankly, Judge, we could do 10 times that and still not meet all the needs in the region.
Sounds like a lot.
It sounds like a ton, and it's nothing. We're glad to have it, though. If anybody from the GLO is listening, we are more than happy to have it.
We are grateful, yeah.
Yes, the orange counties that you see there are Aransas, Refugio, San Patricio, and Nueces counties. Those are called HUD mid counties. They are allocated about 149 million. That's the federal allocation. The state mid are B, Jim Wells, and Clayburgh counties, and we get about 30 million. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we have. We aren't just going, okay, we're going to divide it by 3 and allocate it that way. The factors that we're going to use, that we've recommended to the GLO to use, are population. We are using what's called the SOVI index, if you're familiar with that. SOVI stands for Social Vulnerability Index. We're also looking at declared disasters, and we're looking at percentage of population who lives in floodplains. We think those are very, very important, and that's based a lot on the feedback that we received. If you go to the next slide. The projects that are eligible for this, when you talked earlier about windfall, the types of projects are very important because you're not going to get this money again. So you really want to think about where you want to spend this money. Population was a factor that we used, and one of the cutoffs we decided to use was communities fewer than 2,000. We're not going to have a direct allocation. And I'm going to use the community of Orange Grove as an example. That's in your county. Unfortunately, they have fewer than 22,000 people in it, so their allocation is going to be rolled into the county to manage. Our reasoning for that is that we believe that one $10 million project is going to have a bigger impact than 10 $1 million projects. So the idea is for disaster mitigation, because unfortunately, we're going to have other disasters. So you're going to want to spend the money where you can have an impact, not only today, but in the future. And you're going to want to look at things like, how is it going to have an impact on the environment? How is it going to have an impact on the community? How is it going to have an impact on what's going on in the future? So one of the things that we looked at instead of LMI, I know in your agenda item, it talked about LMI. That's low moderate income. The GLO requires that 50% of the funding gets spent in lower moderate income. Well, part of our planning said that, if you just do 50% across the board, you're actually hurting people in LMI communities because it's too rigid. So our recommendation to the GLO is that we are going to recommend that we do it an actual LMI percentage based on the community's LMI. So if a community is 43% LMI, then their allocation should be 43%. Now, if a community is under 30% LMI, then we are going to recommend that they don't have to deal with LMI at all because it's too low. And if a community is higher, for example, the community of Robstown, they have more than 50% LMI, so all of their allocation is going to go to LMI. I don't remember off the top of my head what Jim Wells County allocation is. It's somewhere between 30 and 50. I don't know what it is, but that we could recommend that you will spend your allocation. And what that means is that, let's say you were at 43%. Just, I don't know if that's what it is. But the funding, 43% of it will go to your LMI area. And then the other 43%, or the other 60, my math is terrible, I'll take my shoes off. The other percentage would be unrestricted. So you could use it in another community as you chose. You don't have to, you can use it however you choose. Now, the county is going to have a separate allocation from the city of Alice. So you can spend it where you choose. My recommendation to you, and the COG does not pick the projects. You will actually tell the GLO how you'd like to spend your money. But my recommendation to you is that you be strategic and that you determine that you are going to spend it however it's going to make the best impact. Of course, they love green because they're in Austin, aren't they? So the hippier, the more patchouli smelling you can make it, the better. And I don't mean to be as flip as it sounds, but you do want to have it a nice, friendly, a community beneficial. Commissioner, you talked about having something to connect restrooms in the fairgrounds. Well, gosh, my first thought, I told Yolanda, wouldn't that be amazing to have it like an art gallery space? I would just love to go to a wedding and have an art gallery when I came back from the restrooms. I mean, just make it beautiful for your community. So I wanted to share this with you because this is money for your community, and this is a beautiful community, and I hope this really makes an impact on it. I have questions for you.
Commissioners, any questions? Pretty clear cut.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, thank you. And if the COG can be a resource to you, please let me know.
Thank you.
I think, Mary, one thing that's really important is this money does not require a match. Is that correct?
That's very important. Thank you for bringing it up. There is no match required to this funding, and it's not competitive. You don't have to compete with another community. You're going to get your money, and you're going to get your money. It's your money. You spend it the way you wish, as long as it meets the federal guidelines.
Excellent. Yeah, that's the key, right?
That's really great news for Jim Wells County.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good.
In addition to some of the.
Yeah.
And everything
other
you all have
monies.
done, yeah, and Ms. Gonzalez, Commissioner Gonzalez, and you guys, because I know they've done an excellent job
She's been a wonderful board
representing the
member.
county, so that's how you are most efficient. I don't think I just know that you guys are in good hands, and
So,
obviously it
We're
worked.
gonna spend the money.
She's been a wonderful, wonderful
Obviously it
board
worked,
member.
right?
so within the next 6 weeks or so, we'll know how much funding Jim Wells County will receive, and then we'll begin the process of identifying projects. So you
Ma'am,
all
these
need to
funds
start
come
thinking-
from the,
These are general land office money that
These-
comes, it goes to the GLO, then, HUD,
from the HUD to the
GLO.
GLO, okay.
COG. I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. The COG is determining the allocation. The funding is going to go directly to the GLO.
Thank
More
you.
questions?
very
Thank you.
much. Thank you. Ms. Moran, thank you. Discuss, consider, take action on payroll and bills as submitted by the county auditor.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion on the floor. In a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. I move that we adjourn this meeting. Second, all those in favor say aye.
All right.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great.
A short meeting became.
It was